What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. It's Monday, so you know what time it is. Time for another mock draft Monday. Unfortunately, don't have a full underdog draft to show you guys before we go into the actual draft this time because, well, it's been slow. It's been very, very slow this week. We're only through 5 rounds, but I'll show you what we are through 5 rounds. I think I have a really nice start. And it's one that I hadn't done. So the ones I've been showing you recently, I've been going pretty wide receiver heavy in the middle rounds, or at least I guess rounds like 2 through 5. This one, don't even have a wide receiver yet. Whole different strategy. So I think it'll be nice to show you guys that one. So over that in a second. But first, of course, you guys see on the screen, stat of the day. Yesterday's stat, 2 quarterbacks threw at least 4 interceptions in a game last season. Drew Lock was one of them. I asked you who the other one was. The answer is actually Jake Luton or Luton. I don't even know how you pronounce his name, but he's not good. It was week 11 versus the Steelers. I looked at the stat line, and it was embarrassing. I mean, 16 for 37, 151 yards, no touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Rough day for Luton or Luton, however you say his name. I don't know who won it because, of course, I have to record these early, especially the 4th of July weekend. But I will pin a comment under who got that on YouTube and Twitter first. Today's stat. 3 players last season had at least 50 full PPR points in the game. Alvin Kamara, of course, championship weekend. Tyreek Hill when he dropped like 51, 52 on Tampa Bay. And who was the third? Okay, so here's the draft. As I said, don't have a wide receiver yet. So this is my team right here. Start off Alvin Kamara. That makes sense. It's kind of how drafts go. You get a Kamara at the 4 pick. Went with Darren Waller in the 2nd round. I had an option to take. It was basically I was deciding between these 3. Metcalf, Justin Jefferson, Darren Waller. But I wanted to see how my team would turn out if I took Waller. I was considering taking wide receivers next if one of them fell. Of course, they didn't, and my options were Keenan Allen and Michael Thomas. Wasn't in love with that, so I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just try and grab 3 really decent running backs, and then I am not touching running back until probably like the 18th round. Like, I'm not kidding with that. I'm going to stick with these 3, completely abandon running back, wait all the way down here. I have Darren Waller, so maybe I take another one really late. Maybe I take like a tight end in the 17th and a running back in the 18th. And then I have Kyler Murray. I'll take another quarterback, but that might even be like the 15th or the 16th. My plan for these next 10 rounds is to hammer 10 wide receivers. And that might sound crazy. Again, underdog is best ball. So how it works is they're picking your starting lineup, so I can have 10 wide receivers, and it's just going to pick the 3 best that happen every week. And so by starting off with these 3 stud running backs, I'm basically saying I'm just getting there on wide receiver with volume. Of course, I'm going to have worse wide receivers than basically everyone here, but can I beat them in volume? Can I just get a ton of wide receivers who have high weekly upside, and that'll make up for it? Because there'll be plenty of weeks, 5, 10, 11 wide receivers in this team where 8 of them bust or 8 of them don't do that great, but I know every single week, at least 1, probably 2 are going to have a spiked week. And so I don't need to predict that under best ball. It's just going to happen on my roster and they'll put it in the starting lineup. So I really like how this started. I'm probably going to want to draft, I don't know. I was thinking with Kyler, I could just stack him late. So obviously I can't have Hopkins, right? But I was thinking, can I get like Kirk late? Can I get Rondell Moore late? I probably won't do A.J. Brown, but I could do that. I'm just going to get like a really, I guess, contrarian stack with Kyler Murray. And then I'll probably try and stack my other quarterback, but it's going to depend, right? Like maybe it's just going to be a wide receiver in like the 11th or 12th round that just goes with a late round quarterback. I don't know what's going to happen yet, but that is the thinking behind this start. Grab those running backs. We're getting a wide receiver with volume. We've got 2 studs that'll allow us to do that, because if we didn't take Waller and Kyler Murray, we might have to take quarterback and tight end this range, and maybe we don't get as good of wide receivers. But I think we're still going to have solid wide receivers, and we're just going to get there with volume on that team. So that is how that has started off. But we're going to do a new draft here. And I know, of course, Fantasy Pros, it's the best site we can use right now, but it's definitely not perfect. But we will be fixing. So anytime I see a value that like should not be there, because I've been doing these underdog drafts, I know where people are going. Whenever I see a value that's just like completely ridiculous, we're going to change it, right? Like I'm not just going to go through and take these awesome values that aren't realistic in a full draft. But if you're mock drafting right now, don't even waste your time going to like ESPN, Yahoo, NFL, even Fantasy Football Calculator is just not good. There are just no good sites. If you actually want a mock draft, you're probably going to have to pay money and go on Underdog. You can use promo code FFA. You're going to get, I would just check. I would check like our Twitter or something like that. But you're going to get like a $25 deposit into your account with whatever you sign up with. I don't know if they have another promo, but I'll link that in the description, just like what it is. But yeah, that's the best site I know of that you can be practicing for your drafts right now. If you want to use Fantasy Pros like I'm doing, you just have to be cognizant of the fact that like it's not perfect until like August, and so we need to adjust. But I will do all the adjusting. I've done early, I've done late, so 7. We'll do 7. Just get something in the middle, and we're going to go back to the normal setup. We've been doing 2 flex spots. We've been doing 3 wide receivers, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex spot. That's what we'll do here. We'll go back to half PPR because we did, I think, 2 full PPRs in a row. And will we leave this the same? Yeah, we'll leave that the same just because I'll be adjusting anyways. So if like a running back falls way later than they should, I'll just like adjust that on the fly. And maybe, who knows? I mean, every week, Fantasy Pros does get a little bit more accurate. Maybe it gets more accurate after this one. I don't know why it takes so long to do the second pick, especially since we can see all these things here. Can we just skip? Did it freeze? Huh. I don't know why it froze there. But I mean, we have a pretty good idea of what we're going to have at this pick, right? McCaffrey, Henry, Dalvin Cook, Barkley, Kamara, Zeke. That is exactly how we expected it to go. We were pretty sure that we were going to get one of Zeke or Jonathan Taylor at our pick. Nothing weird has happened. I'm not even going to go over this too much. I have Jonathan Taylor ranked as the guy here. This went basically exactly according to my rankings, except I have Taylor 1 spot ahead of Zeke. Literally, I have Kelsey at 8. So if you wanted to grab Kelsey at that pick, then you could have done that. But, I mean, I wouldn't have because my rankings have it Kelsey right after that. So, what do we see here that is incorrect? I think that's a good thing to like do for this video, is how can we adjust other people's, because other people's rankings goes into this. How can we adjust other people's rankings to get a little bit more realistic? I think that Kelsey is going to be a first round pick. Let's make tags here, pick Kelsey, and then we'll see how it simulates after that. I would say that's actually pretty realistic. Maybe it flip-flops, like Cam Akers goes a little bit earlier, but like that doesn't actually affect us. It just affects the computer's teams. We're only going to change things that affect us. And I don't want to like look at who's available when we're doing this. So I expect Tyreek Hill. I expect Devonta Adams. I guess Adams, that's a weird situation, right? We still don't know, at least as of recording this, I don't know what's happening. But of course, his ADP will change. I would say he'll probably Adams would go in this range. He'd probably go right next to Tyreek Hill in the first round if Rodgers stays. If Rodgers leaves, Adams probably bumps down to like the 3rd round. So he actually probably won't end up going exactly here, but I don't know what's going to happen, so I don't really want to change that one. Diggs and like Calvin Ridley are probably interchangeable, so we don't need to change that one. And then I think all these running backs, we'll check the running backs here. Yeah, all those running backs are what I expect to come off the board. So now we're good, now that we changed Travis Kelce not being available to us at this next pick, which we obviously would have taken, but I don't think it's going to happen in actual leagues. So I have started off with a running back, but as you guys know, we prefer to be grabbing running backs in these early rounds, then wide receivers and like tight ends, maybe a quarterback in the 5th. But here is a little bit too early for Waller and Kittle. I prefer those guys in this range of the draft, which means we're just not going to end up with one of them, because even if they fall to 3, I'm going to make sure they go in the early 3rd round. I have Calvin Ridley, correct? I have Calvin Ridley 1 spot ahead of Hopkins at 12. I have Antonio Gibson at 20, but that feels too low. So I right now have Antonio Gibson right behind Aaron Jones and Eckler, and I think I'm going to move him above. That's why we do these mock drafts. So I think I'm going to adjust that. Projections-wise, yeah, I'm supposed to have Aaron Jones ahead. But I think I'm going to move him above. And even Nick Chubb, that's a really, really close one, but maybe I'll keep him behind Nick Chubb. But that would be our option, is we take Gibson here, and we lock in 2 stud running backs, 2 very young running backs, and then we load up after that on wide receiver, or we take a wide receiver. My rankings do have it as Calvin Ridley's the best pick here, so we're going to take Calvin Ridley. We'll see what's available after this. I think it would be good to look back at this one, though. So once we get over with this draft, I think it would be nice to see how would have our team turned out if we had gone with Antonio Gibson here, and then what we could have done with the rest, because that's really going to help. If we look back and I really should have taken Gibson there, maybe I just need to move Gibson up to like the low teens, into like that 13 or 14 range. But yeah, we'll see how that kind of works out. So a ton of wide receivers come off the board. Hopkins, A.J. Brown, Jefferson, Metcalf, Julio, Keenan Allen, Michael Thomas, Allen Robinson. We do see both Waller and Kittle go, so that's good. I do not think we need to change anything here. You could argue running back, but are there any? No, none of these running backs. So there is a drop-off after you get to like Clyde, Gibson, this kind of range. There's absolutely a drop into like Dobbins, Swift, Carson, Sanders, Montgomery. I think they should probably be in their own tier there. I don't know if I have Dobbins and Swift. Okay, so I have it how they have it. I do have Dobbins and Swift just a tier above these guys, but it cuts out like here. I think there's kind of a break at Montgomery into like Jacobs, Gaskin, Hunt. So we have the option of taking one of them. I'm not in love with taking Dobbins here, but it depends on our options. We're definitely not taking Hawkinson, Mark Andrews, Pitts. We're definitely not taking those guys. We could take Mahomes. I prefer trying to wait and just see if you can get awesome value with him in the 4th round. It's unlikely, but again, I always say try and get incredible value with your quarterback because there are so many that we like. One of them is bound to be a value at some point. So now we're basically down to Terry McLaurin, Dobbins. There's no way I don't have McLaurin ahead of Dobbins, right? Oh, interesting. So I have McLaurin as a core pick, as a target, but 3 spots behind Dobbins. What's the value situation there? I do have Dobbins projected to be more valuable than Terry McLaurin. Okay, so let's project this out. We're going to have 10 picks go by into our next pick. We're probably going to... Well, we already have... Okay. I forgot that we already had Calvin Ridley. Like, if we didn't have Ridley, then... Yeah, I would probably go with McLaurin here. So actually, there's our answer. Which would we prefer? We prefer... Well, that would be tough because we wouldn't want to take Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin. I probably don't want 2 players on Washington in the first 3 rounds. It's probably a little bit aggressive onto one team. Still think it's a good team, but that's probably aggressive. I'd go Gibson and like Curtis Samuel because that's a little bit less draft capital, but I probably wouldn't have wanted to go with those 2. So yeah, it would have ended up being Gibson and like Mike Evans versus Calvin Ridley, and will end up being J.K. Dobbins. It's interesting, but no, I think the Dobbins pick there is good. There's definitely a huge part of the community that is way off Dobbins this year, and I totally understand not wanting to take him just because Gus is going to be there. He's just not going to have that reception ceiling. But, I mean, you should also realize that he's probably going to be one of the most efficient running backs in the NFL. He's probably going to have double-digit touchdowns. He's probably going to be around, 1,100, 1,200 rushing yards. I mean, he's going to be very, very good. And who knows, maybe we are over-projecting Gus Edwards' role. But again, I still think Gus is a good pick. I do understand the sentiment behind Dobbins not being incredible, but let's be honest. Actually, I should pull this back up. When we're in this range of Dobbins, Carson. I didn't even notice. Where was he? Did I just not even say his name when I was scrolling through here? I feel like the better pick there is probably Carson. Yeah. I think the better pick there is probably Carson. Should I just redo that and say that I was talking to you guys and and change it? Why don't we... Yeah. Let's just redo the pick. Say we'll take... Where was he? That's actually... Oh, so he was right there. I think he was hiding behind this little bar here. We would take Carson in an actual draft if I wasn't like preoccupied with talking to you guys. Because yeah, I think I talked about it in, that would have been Friday's video for you guys, the one I literally am editing right now. I'm moving Carson up the rankings, but I haven't pushed it through. I'm drafting based on the website. I haven't pushed it through yet. But Carson is going to go ahead of Dobbins, probably right behind Clyde, right in that like Michael Thomas, Keenan Allen, Clyde, then Carson. Just because like Penny is, he's never healthy. And I know we don't like predict injuries, but it's like Penny can never recover from these injuries. He just always had this knee issue, and he just can't recover from it. So if he's not coming back, and all they have is like Homer, they have Alex Collins, like DJ Dallas, it's not a good cast. He's game script proofed. If they're down, he's getting receptions. If they're up, he's getting rushing yards, rushing touchdowns. Like, I think Carson's a really, really strong pick in this third round. So we're gonna go with Carson here. But again, I don't think Dobbins was a bad pick either, but I think Carson is a stronger pick. So we do that. I don't think anything was crazy. You're going to see Swift, Dobbins, Sanders go, Cooper, Lamb, Woods, Evans, Pitts. Yeah, all of this makes sense. I do think in actual drafts, maybe Mahomes does go in this like early third, but again, for us, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change our team. Remember my stance on quarterback. I think these guys are probably worth fourth round picks, but I much prefer just seeing who's available in the fifth round. So we're not going to take a quarterback. Again, maybe if Pitts was available to us, we'd take him. But since we missed out on that, I'm looking for extreme value, and there's no way there's extreme value at tight end right now, so I'm not going there. Our team, let's pull up rosters, is Jonathan Taylor, Carson, and Calvin Ridley. So we've got 2 running backs already. We're fine taking another running back for sure because we put them in the flex. We want running backs early. But they got to be a value. I would say that David Montgomery is the top player available in my rankings. He is right ahead of Godwin. Godwin would be the next player available. And I do see a pretty big drop off into these guys. These are much more speculative. So that's a big thing. A lot of people call it like the running back dead zone. Of course, I don't think Jacobs is speculative, but we technically don't know what his receiving game workload is going to be. Gaskin is speculative. He's a 7th round, like a late 7th round pick. He's not all that talented. He wasn't really that good in actual football last season. Could easily be replaced. Hunt, I mean, he is a backup you're taking, to be in the 4th round. Mike Davis is very speculative, already 28 years old, turning 29 years old. He was good in fantasy last season, but he's got a career, 3.7 yards per carry. He's going to a worse offensive situation. I mean, he can average 3.5 yards per carry this season. A lot of speculation going into that pick. Etienne, we have no idea what his role is going to be. So, there's so much speculation. Dave Montgomery, it's no, he's probably going to be a very large part of the offense. Even if Cohen comes back, we know Montgomery's still going to be ball in the receiving game, still the goal line back. I think the strong pick here is to take Montgomery. We've locked up 3 running backs that were very certain in their role. They would have to get injured to bust. And so headlining it with Calvin Ridley is we're not weak at wide receiver. We have one of the best wide receivers. I think Ridley could easily finish as the number 1 wide receiver this season. Okay, so going into this next round, is anything else off? Does Fournette go this early? If there's a value at running back, we'll change Fournette there. Deontay, nice pick. Yeah, Godwin goes more. It might be early for Thielen, although it's probably just based off whoever that is, whoever his rankings are. I don't like those picks, but we'll see. We don't. If Fournette, if there's a running back, there's no way Fournette goes before Kareem Hunt. What is the running back difference there? We'll sort by the ADPs. Fournette's going as the running back 33, and Hunt is going 25. So we'll switch Hunt and Fournette. We'll make sure Javonte Williams goes, and then we'll see. Okay. Let's change Mike Davis. These guys do go this early. Let's change this to Hunt. Sorry, your rankings are bad. let's change this one. No, this one. We'll give him Javonte. And then we'll see what that looks like. Unfortunately, I cannot now change these. I do wish Fantasy Pros would change that so I could now edit backwards, but now I can't edit anything. But I think getting rid of those two was good. So now what's available to us? Gaskin will be the top option. We're not going to take him. But he would be the top option at running back and their projected top pick there. Brandon Ayuk is definitely Brandon Ayuk and Jamar Chase are the two wide receivers I would be looking at here. I still don't want any of the tight ends. I think a lot of people would end up taking Hawkinson at this pick or Mark Andrews. I think Andrews is on the board. Andrews is definitely a stronger pick than Hawkinson. Hawkinson, the problem with taking him is that all you're saying is that everyone else stinks and so he's going to be peppered with targets. But it's like, look back to last season. He was fine last season, but he was still like somewhat disappointing. And if he did what he did last year, you'd be disappointed taking him this early. He's got a significantly worse quarterback. And has the offensive situation changed all that much? I know they have trash, but they had trash most of last season. I mean, Golladay wasn't playing. He was on the team, but he wasn't playing most of last season. And it's like they lost Marvin Jones. Okay, I'm not saying Marvin Jones isn't like, a top 10 wide receiver. He's still Marvin Jones. He's a very, very good 2. And so it's like there's not that much, less competition for targets than there was last season. And yet he's going significantly earlier. I don't see it. I don't see why. I mean, he goes in this range. I don't see why you want to do that. It's just a team you mostly just want to stay away from with the pass catchers. Cool with Swift, cool with Jamal Williams. But I'm not touching really anyone else. So we're not going there. Mark Andrews would be fine. But again, I don't know. I like a lot of the guys late. I don't think they're that much of a drop-off. I think it'd be really smart for us to either take a quarterback or wide receiver here. Because like the opportunity cost of taking Hawkinson or Mark Andrews here is like, I miss out on one of these quarterbacks that could post 27 points per game, which is just nuts and just such an incredible difference maker. I don't know. So I would definitely go with Ayuk or with Kyler. Looking at our team and who we think will be available, I feel like there's not that much of a drop-off if we were just to say, would we rather have like Kyler Murray and maybe like Sutton, maybe Jamar Chase gets there, maybe Claypool. I think one of those guys will be available. So it's Kyler Murray and one of them versus Ayuk. And like, what if we miss out on one of these 3 quarterbacks? I do think one of them could be available, but if we end up missing out, I think our team is weaker. I really do think it is. So we will take Kyler here. I think you could go with Kyler or Lamar at that pick. We'll go with them. Dak is there, so I guess technically it wouldn't have worked out for us. Like we should have waited, but I think I don't get the Justin Herbert love this season. Him going before Dak Prescott, like there's no way, right? Hold on, I'll pull up. We might have to just change that. Even just out of principle, even though it doesn't affect us because we're not going to take. Okay, I have to sort by ADP. I mean, Herbert goes, he goes after Dak. It's really close. He goes right after Dak, but it's like, there's no way. No, I'm changing it out of principle. There's no way you're in a league where someone is taking Justin Herbert over Dak Prescott. And if you are, you've won the league, okay? Because you're drafting with people who have no idea what they're doing. There goes Brandon. Which probably is good. I feel like he wouldn't have been there at our pick. But okay, we see... I mean, that wouldn't have happened, right? I don't think Tunyon is going in the 6th round either. So who would this guy... We're drafting now. We're going to draft for Harbo... I don't even know what that says. Okay, we're drafting for this guy, Team 11 here. They've got Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, and Kenny Golladay. And then they've got Eckler and DeAndre Swift. You're not going with Tunyon at that pick. Who would I take if I was them? I'm pretty good at wide receiver. Do I take another running back? I take Chase if I'm them. We'll go with Chase. Especially right now, since we don't even know, at least I don't know, maybe you do. We don't even know the Aaron Rodgers situation. Okay, so we do that. I wasn't going to let Brandon Ayuk come here. We were still going to make sure he goes away. I think that makes more sense. And no, we're not going to draft Tunyon. I think that makes sense. Okay. So that is our team again. Kyler Murray, Jonathan Taylor, Carson, Montgomery, and Ridley. We don't want to wait too much longer on wide receiver, but we said that was our plan. Where did Chase go? He went like basically right after us. It was Lamar and Chase. I think that's sharp. I think that was correct. So our options, T. Higgins, we could take Cortland Sutton, Chark, Claypool, probably a drop. After that, I don't love it as much. I still love some of these players, but definitely not with this pick. I'm not going to take Chark because I kind of want to be targeting LaVisca, and that'll take away my ability to do that. I would say that if I'm trying to find a 1, well, I think that Chase is the 1 in Cincy, and I think Sutton is the 1 in Denver. I do think Claypool can be the 1, but I think Deontay Johnson is better than him. So if that's our goal, which I think that's a really good strategy if you're like trying to decide between like players in these ranges, is like, well, who's going to be the best one in their team? Because if this team ends up being really good, they have a really nice season, who's going to benefit the most? And like I think it's, Chase in Cincy. I think it's Deontay in Pittsburgh. It doesn't mean I don't love Chark and Claypool. It just means that I think I would prefer the 1 in Denver, which I think is Sutton. After, you see, we helped you out, Joe. We helped you out. We gave you Kareem Hunt, and then you still got your Leonard Fournette. Interesting team. Okay. We see Chark, Higgins, Debo, Claypool, and Corey Davis come off the board. I don't love the Davis pick. And we see a lot of quarterbacks go. Wilson, Rodgers, Herbert. We're now, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're 8 quarterbacks deep. We're kind of at that next drop-off where like a bunch of that next range is kind of the same. Again, that doesn't matter for us. We already took one. Kyler. We have Calvin Ridley and Sutton, and then we've got Jonathan Taylor, Carson, and Dave Montgomery. It's pretty unlikely we take a running back. I don't know who's available, but yeah, I would say it's pretty unlikely we touch running back right now. Some of these guys can end up being okay value. We are going to make sure that Carter and Sermon go at this like next area, like basically here. We're not going to have either of them be available at our 8th round pick. So if we take them, we got to take them now. At wide receiver, I don't think we're thin is the thing. I know that we waited a while wide receiver, but having Ridley and Sutton, I don't think we're thin in that area. But I don't think it would be a bad idea to grab one. I would love Devonta Smith if we could get him in the 8th round. So how could we plan around potentially having that? I don't want to take a tight end. I still want to wait on that position. So we're not going to go there. Not going to go quarterback. At running back, I'm not touching Melvin Gordon, not touching Ronald Jones, David Johnson, James Conner, Zach Moss. So it would have to be one of Carter or Sermon. I don't think I'm going to do that either. So maybe we plan on going double wide receiver here. I'm actually not 100% sure how I have this range ranked. If I had to guess, I think Judy might be ahead here, but like I wouldn't take him because I just took Sutton. So not counting Judy, I feel like I have it Curtis, then Devonta Smith, then Robbie Anderson. That's what my guess would be. Let's see. Oh, we don't want to sort by ADP. My ranking is Devonta Smith 1 spot ahead of Curtis Samuel, and then Robbie. Okay, so I had that almost right. I think it's more likely that ADP-wise, Devonta Smith does go ahead on average. So it would be sharper for us to take him first. Let's do it. Let's take Devonta Smith. Hope we can get Curtis Samuel in the next round. We can't get Curtis Samuel in the next round. We're going to make sure that Sermon goes. So let's change James Conner to Sermon. People are definitely going to fall in love with him. I promise you. And then if Michael Carter, okay, he does go. Okay. This makes sense. And even, look at this. We helped out this team too. We made sure they got a better value on Robert Tunyon. We're just helping out the computer here. What was I going to say? I don't even know what I was going to say. We didn't get Curtis Samuel, though. Unfortunate, but I guess it is what it is. I think that, what was I going to say? Devonta Smith? Maybe I was going to give a Devonta Smith take. I think he is easily the one for the Eagles. He is clearly more talented than Rager. I know I like Rager as a talent, but he's clearly a 2. And I think that, Jalen Hurts is going to be good. He's going to elevate this offense. I don't think he's going to be elite, but I think he's going to be good enough to where, Devonta Smith is very, very talented, exceptional at creating separation. He's going to be good. I think people are definitely undervaluing him because of his weight. So, got that there. What round are we in? We're in like the 8th round. So, I think Judy is a really good value here, but again, we're not going to end up taking him. At running back, it's like I want pure upside. So technically James Conner has upside. Moss has upside, but I have so many reservations with Moss just because even if he gets, there was that report on like 60, 70% of the work. Yeah, well, he needs to get at least that to be viable because Josh Allen takes so many rushing touchdowns. Because Josh Allen is not going to throw to running backs, he needs to be practically a feature back to be viable. So I backed off Zach Moss, but those two definitely have an okay amount of upside. Gus would be fine. It's probably a little bit early for most of these running backs, though. So I don't think I'm going to grab another running back. I feel good, though, because I only have to start 2. With Jonathan Taylor, Carson, Dave Montgomery, I feel good enough about their roles that I don't think I need to go with running back. We'll wait a little bit longer. Again, don't need a quarterback. So we're looking back at wide receiver. It is Robbie Anderson or Laviska for me at this pick. Or do we just take now we go with tight end? I don't know that there's going to be a running back or a run soon, but maybe we can get Laviska in the 9th. That would be the dream, is if we can grab... I don't even have it, actually. Because maybe we don't even have to do that. We can just secure Laviska now. Okay. I have Higbee, Dallas Goedert, Noah Fant, and Logan Thomas, who are all available back to back to back to. Not technically, there's like a few spots in between, but effectively, they're all ranked within 8 spots of each other. All of value right now, all ranked ahead of the 90 spot. So to me, that says, Nick, you have a free pick, because they're probably not all coming off the board. Just take whoever's available at the next round. Take the wide receiver you want. And the wide receiver I want right now is Laviska over Robbie Anderson, which is not how I believe I have the rankings. And so maybe I need to adjust. Yeah. That's so tough, though. So my take on Robbie Anderson is basically that I think people are undervaluing how good Terrence Marshall is going to be. And so, no, I still think... The basic take is here, I think I'd prefer Terrence Marshall in the last round as opposed to Robbie Anderson right now. But I do have Robbie Anderson, even with that take, as the top option here. Definitely the highest projected on the board. It's probably smart. It's probably smart to take Robbie Anderson. He's going to be involved in the offense. Take Robbie Anderson. Unfortunately, that means Laviska won't be there at that next pick. He'll come off the board, but I think it's still the sharp pick is to take him there. But if you wanted to take Laviska here, I'm totally fine with that. That's early for Jonnu. I'm just not going to change it because I don't even really care which tight end we end up getting. I'm still fine with Higbee, Logan Thomas, or Fant. Do I wait another round? That's the thing. Do I grab another wide receiver here because I missed out on Laviska? And just hope that, again, one of Noah Fant, Logan Thomas, let's do it. Because I'm cool with any of them. And I think all these guys have already taken a tight end. So they'd have to be taking their second tight end. I don't think that would be very sharp. So let's do it. Let's grab another, or we can grab a running back. Whichever running back or wide receiver we like the most. Pittman. Because I'm not on Landry, Parker. Gallup would be fine. I'm not on Marquise Brown. Jones would be fine. Mike Williams, fine. I think I like Pittman the most. Antonio Brown's gone, right? Antonio Brown's gone. Will Fuller is gone. Yeah. Pittman. We'll take Pittman, or we go with... It would probably be A.J. Dillon or Tony Pollard. Which do we need more? Pittman or upside on Dillon? Because technically, if you're looking at Dillon, like what if Rodgers stays and Aaron Jones, gets hurt? Dillon is a running back 1 instantly. The problem is like he's useless while Aaron Jones is healthy. But I mean, I don't need him to be. He's running back 4. I don't need him to be useful. Basically, everyone in this range is useless unless they get the workload. I feel like the benefit of us adding Michael Pittman here isn't as strong as A.J. Dillon, simply because we're not using Pittman anyways. Obviously, Calvin Ridley and like Sutton are being started ahead. And then probably Smith and Robbie Anderson as well. And so it's like, he's going to be more a fill-in, more a guy we wait, see if he can like truly break out this season. But we're not going to be using him anyways. And between running back and wide receiver, I'd rather use that bench spot on a high upside running back if I'm not going to be using either of them anyways. Hope that makes sense. Tight ends, though, still on the board. We're now in the 10th round. That's why we've been waiting on tight end. If Pittman was there at this next pick, I would have taken him and waited another round for tight end. I feel like at this point, we're getting to a range where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 5 picks left. One's going to be a tight end. One's going to be a defense. One running back and 2 wide receivers is probably how I would divvy up the rest of it. And so, not really caring which running back it ends up being, so not taking a running back here. Wide receiver, we have that cast of guys that we like late, so not an issue there. So basically, it's like just take it. At this point, just take the tight end that you want. Again, I will confirm that right now, but Tyler Higbee is the one that I want. I would like on every single team I draft, it's not going to happen, but I would like on every single team I draft to acquire 1 Rams player. So whether that be getting Akers early, which is awesome, whether that be getting one of Woods or Kupp or getting Stafford or getting Higbee, I want one of them in every team because I think this team is going to be incredible. And so grabbing him was basically my last option of doing that because I'd already taken quarterback. Even if like Stafford was on the board, I already had a quarterback. I'm not taking 2 quarterbacks. So now, next 3 rounds, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, pure upside. I care 0 about the floor here with these picks. So Madison would make sense. Ahmed would make sense if you think Ahmed takes over as the lead back. That's kind of it, right? None of these guys. Stevenson, if you think Stevenson takes over in New England. If you think Gurley signs somewhere, you could take him. I think Madison is the most logical one though. I didn't even look at wide receiver, but we'll take Madison, grab that guy that we wanted. Now we take 2 wide receivers and defense, and we call it a day. You guys know the wide receivers we like. Where's my boy? No. Did somebody draft Jacob? Oh, there he is. Okay. Jacoby Myers, still probably the best late round pick you can make right now. He's the wide receiver 1 on a team, and you're getting him in the 12th, 13th round. That doesn't make any sense. So Jacoby Myers there. Listen to JJ Zacharyason's late round podcast on rookie quarterbacks, and I'm not going to say it has me shook, but because we understand it that in general rookie quarterbacks, I guess probably a lot of you haven't watched it, basically or listened to it, the thesis was in general when you have a rookie quarterback, he's probably not supporting multiple high-end fantasy players, and that makes sense, right? And so if we think Fields takes over and we think Allen Robinson's clearly the one, Darnell Mooney is probably not someone we're going to be able to rely on in a 12-team league. In 14 to 16, sure. In best ball, fine, because you're going to capture those random decent weeks, because I think he'll have some good weeks. But in a 12-team league, he's very unlikely to be someone that I'm putting in my flex because I'm probably going to have better options. And so I like Mooney, I like the talent, but I mean, the math does say if you have a rookie quarterback, in general, it's not impossible, but in general, you're probably not having multiple guys. And since I think Allen Robinson's clearly the one, well, that's going to hurt Mooney. And since I was looking for pure upside here, well, why would I draft Mooney when I could draft Jacoby Myers, because Mooney is the 2 and Myers is a 1. Just a thought there. Also, wide receivers were really, really bad on New England last season. They didn't score like any touchdowns. They didn't have any real production because of how bad the offense was passing. And people just assume that's going to happen this season. But if Mac Jones takes over, that's not what's going to happen this season. After him, it's either Paris Campbell. Also, Gabriel Davis, I'm backing off a little bit on because beat reporters are kind of saying that Emmanuel Sanders should probably be viewed as the 2. They really wanted to trade for Emmanuel Sanders. Also, shout out, this could be a shout out to, we have a trending players page now on the website. So you can see the website somewhere down there, thefantasyfootballadvice.com. It's free to view, at least right now. Maybe I'll make it part of the draft package. But if you click that, you can see the most relevant, like latest reports that I've seen from like beat reporters, from different writers. And the latest one that I'm going to be posting probably sometime later today is on Emmanuel Sanders, talking about how, a fantasy community is assuming Gabriel Davis is going to be the 2, but they love Emmanuel Sanders. They wanted to trade for him in the past. They finally got him. They were aggressive in getting him this offseason. They want him to be the 2, basically. And when you consider, it's not like they invested, a top 3 pick in Gabriel Davis. I think, was he a 5th round pick? Maybe I'm wrong on that. But he definitely wasn't a top 2 round pick. I don't know. It's definitely possible Emmanuel Sanders takes workload, and that would make Gabriel Davis overvalued. So if we're looking at upside, it is probably Bateman, also Bateman, Campbell, Rondale Moore, but maybe Mecole Hardman. That is actually probably the pick that I would make here because, I could end up dropping Mecole in like week 2, but what if Hardman finally is that clear wide receiver 2 on a Patrick Mahomes-led offense? I mean, this kid's like incredibly fast. I mean, I don't know. That's a lot of upside. So 2 really nice upside picks there. Obviously, everyone knows Madison, handcuff to Dalvin Cook. He's going to be very good. It looks like the lawnmower people definitely want to be starting right now. So we're going to have to be wrapping up this one by just taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then we'll get our team here on the screen. Don't pay attention to the grade there. And there it is. Kyler Murray. Here's our starting line. Kyler Murray, Jonathan Taylor, Chris Carson. Nice start there. Calvin Ridley, Cortland Sutton, Tyler Higbee, David Montgomery, and the Bucs with a really, really nice bench. I think this is a very strong bench. Devonta Smith, Robbie Anderson, A.J. Dillon, Alexander Madison, Jacoby Myers, and Mecole Hardman. So that'll do it for the end of this one. Hope you all enjoy. If you did, how about hitting the like button? And how about subscribing to the channel if you're new here? Thanks for watching.